guys, this is part 2 of Let's Talk About Duncan. Heck, I know that Duncan was attracted to Courtney, but he was so obsessed with her that he was willing to do literally anything Courtney would say. He was willing to let her manipulate him to going up to a real train that he didn't even know it was a real train or not. He was so obsessed that he really wanted to be with her in that Princess Courtney episode when Justin started liking her, and then Duncan got jealous. So even though Courtney treats him like garbage, he didn't care. He still wanted her because she looks so beautiful and he likes her personality for some reason. I understand that the writers were trying to tease the Duncan fans with some flirtatious moments between the two, mainly between Duncan flirting with Courtney, but I think that Courtney treated him like garbage and that she doesn't deserve a boyfriend. Duncan was just as bad as communicating with Courtney as bad as Courtney was bad at communicating with him, because he didn't tell her how he felt when she mistreated him. He didn't tell her how he felt during the breakup. He didn't explain to Harold why he thought it was wrong that he booted off Courtney. Instead, he picked on him instead. And he threatens people instead of talking things out with them. Like, come on. I know he's trying to come up as a tough guy. I know that's his character, but he needs to mature. He needs to grow up. For real. He's not little kid. He shouldn't be holding his mouth back. Like, what's the matter, Duncan? Cat got your tongue? Too afraid to talk? Like, come on. He's a teenager. Nearly almost a grown man. He should be speaking his mind. And my girl Lashana knew Courtney wasn't one. Yeah, girl. She was like, and Duncan wanted to follow Courtney. She was like, those arrangements only lead to heartache and tears on your pillow. Hey, Lashana knew what was going on. She just minded her business. I wouldn't care how much Duncan cared about her, or how much Duncan would have told me off for not liking Courtney. I still would have told him, she mistreats you, break up with her, and I still would have told Courtney off. I still would have explained to him, just like how I explained in that one Courtney video, about a video called Let's Talk About Courtney. I would explain everything in that video. I would explain to him, and I would have told her off. Explain to Courtney. I would explain everything in that video. I would explain to Courtney, but to her face, and I would have told her off in that type of way. Lashana should have had Duncan's back, though. Like, she should have really, had Duncan's back. At least she defended Lindsay when Courtney's being a bully towards Lindsay. I didn't like how Courtney bullied Lindsay. I didn't like that either. But Lashana should have said way more to defend Lindsay. And even in that rock and roll episode, the thing that had Duncan pissed off was that Courtney hit him with a giant guitar even after that Princess Pride episode where he thought that he wanted a girl of his dreams, which is really a nutcase. Courtney's really a nutcase, by the way. Not the girl of his dreams, a nutcase. But he thought that it was the girl of his dreams because he was obsessed with her. And remind you, Courtney physically abused him with that guitar. Duncan's pissed off, and I have proof that he was pissed off because in the same episode, he did things like he stick up the middle finger at a cardboard standee. He kicked them, and I guess those were actions that were showing anger towards Courtney. Because I'm guessing that he's pretending I have a theory that he's pretending one of the cardboard standees that he stuck the middle finger at was Courtney. Because I'm guessing that he wanted to, stick the middle finger at Courtney. I'm guessing that he wanted to, he was so mad that Courtney was mistreating him, but he was bad at communicating. Like, he didn't tell her that. And he didn't tell her to stop being controlling. He didn't talk to her about it. He didn't tell her off about it or nothing. That's just bad communication. It's like Duncan just mute. In the next episode, Duncan's really focused on winning. That's when he starts getting along with Harold. But then, even after the episode, he's in the world tour. He still raises his fist at Harold, and he says that who beat him if Harold tried to beatbox. Harold didn't even do anything. Harold didn't say anything bad about Courtney and bad about him. Harold didn't say anything wrong. All Harold said was that he wanted to beatbox, and Duncan raised his fist at him immediately. So I thought that was kind of fake too. The bonding seemed genuine, but it was fake because even after the episode in the world tour, Duncan's they said he'll beat Harold if he tried. Wait a minute. I think I know why he said that, because Harold punched Duncan in the face when Duncan laughed when Harold called Lashana a delinquent. I think that's why he said that. Yeah, maybe that's why. So maybe their bonding was genuine. No, wait. Duncan was fake because even after that episode, he still continued to pick on Harold. And I guess it was because Harold killed Duncan's spider by accident. There's about told Drama action, he raised his fist at him and he's like, "Where's my scruffy?" I guess because he was mad that Harold accidentally killed the spider, but it was an accident. At the end of the day, it was an accident. He didn't mean to. Harold was sorry. I think he was sorry. I mean, Harold should have apologized, but I think he did. I don't quite remember. But anyways, he raised his fist at him in a World Tour episode. Even though Harold and Duncan seemed bothering to drama action, I think the writers thought it would have been funny. And I think Duncan was just mad because Harold punched him, so their bonding was genuine, yeah. I don't know why I thought I was just analyzing, guys. That's probably why I thought it was fake at first, but it was genuine, in my opinion. But anyways, this man, despite how tired this man is and how this man does not feel like doing any of this, and how badly this man wants this woman to go home, this man allowed this woman to write a 42-page essay on outlisting all his flaws and how he could change them, which is so controlling and just so weird and stupid of Courtney to do. And Duncan just allowed it to slide. Like, he was like locked in on wanting to be with her, and then he was, even when Courtney corrected Duncan, told him to call her babe, he just like, "Oh, okay, cool." As soon as she says, "You may hold me now," Duncan can be easily manipulated by girls, and easily, especially the mean girls, and easily, like, he can, no matter what, he just speak up for, like, when a girl mistreats him or how much a girl treats him. He like doesn't care as long as the girl's interested in him. You know what I mean? Flashback back to Island when Heather manipulated him by flirting with Duncan, by laying on his stomach because she said she was scared, and Duncan's like, "Yeah, sure," and then Duncan fell asleep. So then Duncan can be easily manipulated because what if Courtney was just using him the whole time for money? Because at the end of Total Drama, when Duncan wins, when it's just him and Beth, I don't like the fact how he calls Beth a loser, even though I don't like how Beth is in season 2. I don't like Beth in season 2. I like Beth in season 1. Because I feel like Beth was fake towards Lindsay season 2, and I feel, you know how I love Lindsay, and I feel like Beth was just, you know, she was flirting with Justin even though she had a boyfriend, and then, like, she kissed Harold even though she cheated on her boyfriend with Harold, and then she even started to like a pole. I know it's supposed to be funny. Yes, I did laugh at the fact that Beth liked it a pole, but she had a boyfriend at the time. And not to mention how she said that she's going to break up with her boyfriend for Harold, and then she cheated on her boyfriend with Harold. But I wonder why Duncan called Beth a loser. And then in this one episode, Duncan said actual hot versus the actual not. You know, get it? Astronauts? Yeah, because, and then when he said actual hot, he's referring to Courtney, which it annoys me when Duncan just, like, kissing Courtney's butt, like, and when he's like targeting other characters who don't like Courtney's just trying to defend herself when Courtney's in the wrong. Courtney's being mean. Beth called her out for Courtney's. I think Beth called Courtney out for being mean. It's Lindsay called Courtney out for being mean, especially Lindsay. And Courtney kept like pushing away the things that you said by saying other things, by blaming it on other things and on other people. And then I don't like what Duncan said because when he said actual hot versus the actual not, because again, that's Duncan making a sexist comment. Like, bro, how he's gonna say that because of how Beth looks? Like, that was just mean. And then the fact that he called Courtney hot was just amusing to me because Courtney treated him like garbage throughout the entire season, and he still loves that uptight butt. Wow. And by the way, in Duncan's ending, when he wins, Courtney kissed him and got back with him. Yes, because Duncan voted Courtney off on purpose. At first, you may think that he seemed tired while trying to vote her off, but it was on purpose. Because in the confessional, he said that he wanted Courtney to go home and he wanted to win the money to win. Yes, he did look tired of voting her off, but he knew what he was doing because he said that he wanted her to go home. And then Courtney broke up with him, and then as soon as he won that money, she got back with him. She kissed him, but she didn't kiss him before he won the money. It was like she just used him for the money. What if Courtney just used him that whole time, just wanted to humiliate him, embarrassing him on TV, to see how it feels to be controlled by Courtney? And to, like, imagine that. What if that's just a theory I have, which I know isn't true. I know that Courtney liked it, Duncan, but she was still controlling towards him at the end of the day. It was also, part of it was Duncan's fault because Duncan allowed it, and Duncan did not stand up for himself. He didn't put his foot down. He didn't communicate with her. Like by standing up for himself, he didn't tell her off, nothing. Because I would tell Courtney off if I was Duncan. He didn't push her away and say that, come on, Duncan knows that he deserves better. Like, a better girl to treat him right. And I'm not talking about Gwen. I do not ship Duncan. Especially not after All Stars. And in an action special, what makes me mad is how Duncan did not... he did not try to sue Courtney back when Courtney sued him off of his raccoon. He did not try to sue him. He did not try to sue Courtney for abusing him physically, for insulting him. He did not get a restraining order on her for being controlling towards him, for abusing him physically. So that's just, like, insane to me how he didn't do anything back. I mean, I get it. It's Duncan's choice. But Duncan should have thought about doing this sooner. I get it. He liked it, Courtney, at the time. He probably didn't want to do that to ruin her reputation. But Courtney was just so icky. Like, she was mean. Like, I know Heather was mean too, but I really love Heather. At least Heather's not bratty as Courtney. And Heather, I really love Heather. At least Heather didn't physically abuse Alejandro. Yes, I know a lot of people will probably point at the fact that she kicked him and pushed him down a volcano. One, Heather did that because she wanted to win and because she wanted to defend herself, because Alejandro was being a jerk by flirting with all the girls and manipulating them and misleading them to think that it was love at first sight and getting them voted out. And by because Alejandro used DJ and Alejandro flirted with Courtney when he knew that Heather was into him and she was into him too. So that kind of made Heather, so that really did make Heather jealous. And it also made Heather mad, I'm guessing. And what made Heather mad is that Alejandro tried to play the male Heather card, but smarter. So yeah, Alejandro deserved it, and Heather's mean. That's what Heather does, because she's Heather. At least she doesn't do it constantly. At least she didn't kick him in the keys with a big bone. I know Heather would have felt bad for her man, because that's her man. At least she didn't do it with a guitar. At least she didn't, like, hit him in the head with a big bone like Courtney did to Duncan. Duncan just didn't say anything after that, because he let it slide. I have a theory that Duncan might be scared of Courtney, just like in a pinball episode. That was one time, though. That was one time. I'm talking about, like, certain times like that, he can get scared of Courtney. And that's probably why he doesn't speak up for himself. And by the way, this Celebrity Manhunt episode, when Courtney was suing him, when Courtney said all that stuff about him, he was just said no comment. Duncan just doesn't, like, speak up for himself when a girl was ranting about him, like, meanly. When a mean girl is ranting about him, like, he doesn't say anything at all. Duncan just... his character is supposed to be tough, like a bad boy. But he doesn't show it all the time when Courtney is abusive towards him and when Heather is mean to him. He doesn't show his tough side. Probably because they're female, but he should always be tough. No matter what. Like, he should show his tough side, and he should, against those mean girls, and he should, like, stand up for himself, more often. And when Courtney knocked the TV down, he was still simping for her, as if she didn't do anything wrong. Like, I'm not talking about what she did with the TV. I'm talking about how she physically abused him with a guitar and with a big bone. And how she was controlling towards him by making a 42-page letter. And he really chose to be with someone like that again, because guess what happens next? They literally kiss right after they insult each other, which is so toxic to me. Because how did Duncan choose a toxic relationship over, I don't know, my OC named Jocelyn? She's sweet. She's not toxic at all. She's perfect for him. Imagine Duncan choosing Courtney over her. Like, come on, Duncan. You could do so much better. Why? Why Courtney? Why? Why her? Why? Come on, I know Duncan can do so much better. Oh, wait. In World Tour, he cheated on Courtney with Gwen. Well, at first he quits. I understand that Duncan won season 2, so that's probably why he quit. I get it, Duncan was angry because of the heat and Gwen and Courtney arguing over him. And because of the climbing, it made him tired. But I got upset when Duncan quit because I wanted to see more Duncan screen time. That limited his screen time for real. Like, Duncan should have stayed. He shouldn't have quit, in my opinion, because he's a strong player and he could have went on further. And the girls could have solved the love triangle between him and Nick. they could have all been friends. If Courtney was nice and wasn't fake, they could have all been friends. And I could see Duncan getting further in the game. But at the same time, yes, he did quit, and I completely understand why. And he did not want to sing either. I don't understand why Duncan and Gwen don't like singing. I don't know, maybe it's just not their thing. You know, it's not really their thing. They don't dig it. They don't. So, after Duncan quit, we saw that he did some things. He went undercover as many disguises as he can. He even ran down a hill and did some cursing when he fell down. You heard the bleeps. Blaney said that the bleeps sound like Duncan, just like him, and it did. And eventually, Gwen and Courtney found Duncan at a rock and roll concert, and I kind of want to see a side story to Duncan's perspective to everything that happened while he was away out from the world tour, and everything he did. And by the way, when they captured Duncan, when Courtney yells at him for abandoning him, even though she abandoned him, Duncan just, like, he gets mad. You can see how mad he really gets. And the thing about him is that Duncan can get aggressive at times, but he doesn't, you see that in one episode when he was getting aggressive to Lashana, he said that he'll get in her face and she's not gonna like it. He should have said that to Courtney. But of course, since he has a heart of gold and since he likes her, he can be, you know, a pushover. People can just walk all over Duncan. I know Duncan doesn't seem like isn't the type of character to get walked over, but I feel like other characters are just gonna walk all over Duncan, and Duncan continues to just act this way he acts towards Courtney and Heather. Like, by him not speaking up, not standing up for himself, by him allowing things to happen, to progress this far as to a 42-page letter and physical abuse, Duncan is just, he's a pushover, yes. Instead of, like, yelling at Courtney, and instead of breaking up with Courtney, yelling at her, telling her that it's over, that would be the mature thing to do. He should have been broke up with her since total drama actions happened. He kissed Gwen behind her back. He cheated on her. Right. I don't know why he cheated on... I mean, I know why he cheated on her. Because Courtney abused him and made that letter, that paragraph, 42-page letter. And because Courtney was so mean to him and everyone else. But I don't exactly know why he didn't break up with her instead of cheating. I know the writers want a drama to happen. They probably don't even know the reasons why either, because they were just thinking, oh, drama, it has to happen. Yes, that's what they were probably thinking of. But there has to be estimations for everything, right? So he probably cheated on her because, like, you know, it's Courtney. She was going to overreact, and Duncan didn't want to feel annoyed by hearing Courtney overreact. He didn't want Duncan to slow him down in the game. He didn't want Duncan, he didn't want Courtney to slow him down in the game. He didn't want Courtney to target him too much. He didn't want Courtney to go after him. He didn't want Courtney to, like, do anything horrible to him. He wanted to get revenge on her. He was plotting it in World Tour. Because in this episode, he got revenge on her. And I'm so happy to see this episode. It's probably one of my favorite episodes in World Tour for this reason. And because of Al and Heather. And because of Sierra and Cody. It's because Duncan got his revenge, and I'm just happy to see Duncan happy that he got his revenge on Courtney. When in the wedding episode, when he was like, turn right, and then Courtney would hit a bell or trip and fall into chocolate pudding, and she would say, ew. Courtney's misery just made me so happy, because yes, he finally got his revenge. She got what she deserved. Yes, after all this time. Yes. Then Alejandro takes over, and then, you know, it's Courtney again. Yeah, that's okay. It's cool. He ruined Duncan's moment. His time for revenge. It's cool. The thing that makes Duncan so immature is that he didn't break up with Courtney. Instead, he cheated on her. And that was just immature. Like, how are you not going to break up with the person you're with? How are you going to cheat on them with another person? I get that he didn't want Courtney over yet. I get it. It's Courtney. And yes, Duncan and Courtney were together at the time, even though Courtney kept saying that she was the only one who stated that she was with Duncan. And I'm not counting Gwen saying that Courtney was Duncan's girlfriend at the time in World Tour, because Courtney did tell her that. Duncan and Courtney kiss on a bus. When two people kiss, it's a sign of them showing affection, right? Which means that they're together. That's what it means. Yeah. So that's why I believe that Duncan and Courtney were together at the time. I knew that they were together at the time. In my opinion, they were. And Duncan should have just broke up with her like that. But he was too immature to realize that Courtney was not that Courtney was, that's what he should have did. Instead of saying that confessional, his ego gets to him and he admits that he did the right thing by kissing Gwen. Well, he said something like that. I don't know. I forgot. Then, in Total Drama World Tour, Duncan and Gwen even sang about their feelings for each other. And they sang about how they're hiding it from Courtney and how they kiss in a confessional behind it all. Tyler found out. And instead of saying that how he should have broke up with Courtney before kissing Gwen, he points to the camera and he says that Tyler saw me and Gwen kissing. If he says anything, he's a dead man. Like, bro, he cannot pull a header. He cannot do that to Tyler, bro. Because Tyler, bro, didn't do anything wrong. He just walked in and saw Gwen and Duncan kissing. And then Tyler probably thought that Courtney was nice to him. So he was just mad that Duncan cheated on Courtney. So he thought that Courtney was hurt. Okay? But when a person's truly in love, there's no way that they can feel hurt from what happened. So Courtney was just sad. Because anybody who's cheated on would be sad. But Tyler saw that she was crying, so he thought that he was hurt. He thought that these two were truly in love. I guess Tyler didn't watch Total Drama Action. If he did, wow, I would be shocked. Because Courtney really treated him like garbage, and Tyler should have been feeling sorry for him, and he should have told Duncan to break up with Courtney, and he should have told Courtney to stop being mean to everyone else. And then when Duncan heard the rest of the cast talking about how he kissed Gwen, like Tyler said how he would have kicked Duncan 2 times in the nuts, Duncan did not state his side of the story. I would have stated my side of the story, and I would have told them everything that happened behind closed doors. And because Tyler was for real on Courtney's side. In World Tour, Duncan did sing. He was really good at it, though. Although Jocelyn would love his singing voice, she would like that. In World Tour, Duncan allowed Courtney to punch him and give him black eye, which was so toxic because Duncan... And then I'm just so confused to why Duncan allowed that, because I'm sure he's tough and he has the balls to not allow that to happen. So why he allowed Courtney to punch him and then throw hot spaghetti on his head? Duncan should feel embarrassed for not standing up to himself. And I know why she should feel embarrassed, because Courtney's a whiny little brat. That's why. And cheating is wrong. Nobody should never cheat in a relationship. Yes, I know Courtney was controlling, manipulative, and abusive the whole time in the relationship with Duncan, but Duncan should have broke up with her and ordered a restraining order. That's what he should have did. And he should have sued her with his lawyers. The other things that satisfied me in World Tour is that how he teamed up with Alejandro so that Al can seduce Courtney, so that Courtney can go home, and so that karma can hit Courtney right in the face. I like how he teams up with Alejandro in that episode, the Alien 51 episode. I also love how there's in one episode where they play pirates. But at the time, during the Alien episode, Duncan did not know that Alejandro was manipulating everyone. He really thought that he had a thing for Bridget and Lashana, even though he knew that Bridget was with Jeff at the time. I don't know if Duncan found out that Jeff and Bridget broke up and he didn't, and then they got back together after that. I really don't know. Or he found... Because Bridget really cheated on Jeff with Alejandro. And if Duncan knows this, he should have been like, oh, wow, why would she cheat on him? I would want to know the whole story. If it wasn't for Noah, then Duncan... then Duncan wouldn't have found out about Alejandro, and he would have went home early. But the writers wanted to keep him until merge, so Duncan had to stay because Duncan really started to like Alejandro in the beginning before he knew that Alejandro was manipulative and what's the word? A villain. Yes, a villain. He really started to like Alejandro, and I really think that even though after he found it out, he started to dislike Alejandro, but I think that deep down, he always liked Alejandro deep down as a friend, and he also, at the same time, also disliked him. Yes, I do believe deep down he likes Alejandro, yes. Because he literally said 3, 2, when Alejandro Duncan was smiling, and then that one episode, Owen got attacked by an animal. Now, Duncan was just acting so scared of Courtney in that wedding episode. I can't understand why he was scared of her. Like, because Courtney's a brat at the end of the day. She's a two-faced, whiny little brat. I get it that Courtney threatened him and that Courtney physically abused him and that Courtney was just awful towards him, but he should not be scared of her. He gotta show the world he's brave. And then the sus thing I find is that how Duncan says that it feels so right to, like, have an alliance with Courtney. That was kind of sus. Why would Duncan say that? He was with Gwen at the time. I'm not saying that he had feelings for Courtney at the time, because he hated her guts at the time. But then I'm just proud of my son Duncan for, like, having an attitude towards Courtney, because he literally had nothing to say towards Courtney when Courtney asked him to apologize. I forgot what he said. Oh yeah, he said for, and she said for Gwen. And Duncan just didn't say anything. He looked at her with attitude. I'm so proud of my son Duncan, because Courtney gave him the attitude in season 2 and in season 1. So I'm proud of Duncan for that. He's clocking her tea. Remind you, he called Courtney a loser. He got back at her in a wedding episode by tricking her into going into the wrong directions, making her fall into a cup of pudding, a bowl of pudding. He made her bump into a bell. He laughed. He was happy to get karma flying back in Courtney's face. But I bet you Courtney did not know why he did that, because Duncan didn't state why. But the audience sure does know why. Most of the audience know why. And then Duncan came back with an attitude at Courtney. Yes. And then in World Tour, let's just say that Alejandro and Heather tricked Duncan and made him get beat up by Ezekiel. And then Duncan goes home after that. Did I mention how Duncan can make, like, rude comments sometimes? Like, there's one comment he said, typical chicks with typical direction. And in one episode of season 1, like, that comment was so sexist. I don't know why he said that. I know Duncan can be rude. I know he's rebellious, but come on. That was just plain rude and unfair towards the girls. And we went to the island. Duncan comes back. And then, I don't know why he was tied up for some reason. I guess because Chris did it because he knew that Duncan would be mad to find out that Gwen was buried alive in that one episode of Adventure to the Island. And he didn't want Duncan to threaten him or punch him or do none of that, because he was so close to doing that to Chris in season 1 when he said the chick was determined. And then, so Duncan escaped. He waved by. And then he exploded Chris' statue of himself. I guess it was Duncan's getting back at Chris for having Gwen get buried alive. So yes, that was Duncan's karma on Chris. That was Chris' karma. So nothing really changed about him here. But in All Stars, it's like he's a completely different character. He's back from obsessing over Courtney more than ever. Why he's trying to get attention from Courtney even after she treated him like garbage, and he's still obsessed with her. He just didn't care. He wanted her. I guess because Duncan misses those days when Courtney and Duncan went in Chef's kitchen to steal the food, when they had fun, and when he saw that Courtney was letting loose during the special Total Drama episode when the $1 million cash was in a suitcase when they're after it. I guess he misses those days, but those days were over. Duncan needed to move on and let it go, because Courtney is over it. Courtney was over him. She didn't care. Well, I don't think she was exactly over him, but she wasn't really paying attention to him. She didn't care. She didn't want to pay attention to him, nor she didn't care. And she could care less about Duncan. She wasn't over him because she still called Duncan her boyfriend at the time. And Duncan was with Gwen at the time, because he was with Gwen. When he shows his sweeter side more in the season. Like, he tried to show affection towards Gwen, and he tried to, he flirted with Gwen. He tried to, impress her and, be all sweet towards her. But Gwen just makes it seem like that she thinks that is lame. And that makes Duncan think that she thinks that it's lame, because Gwen wasn't paying attention to him. And Gwen was ignoring him and his flirtatious ways and his sweet attitude. And Gwen just, didn't care. She ignored him when she winked at her. And I guess because Gwen was too upset because she was thinking about Courtney and how she kissed Courtney's boyfriend and all. that she didn't want to talk to Duncan, that she wanted to break up with him because Gwen felt guilty. But that doesn't give her the right to ignore him. That was just rude. Duncan's being all nice to Gwen, and Gwen just ignored him, and Gwen acted like she didn't care. Gwen was too focused on the challenge, and Gwen just didn't care. She felt guilty for kissing Courtney's boyfriend, so she probably thought about breaking up with him, and she couldn't care less. She could care less about Duncan. Like, she didn't care. She even pushed Duncan in a water filled of angry sharks because she didn't want to kiss Duncan in front of Sierra because she felt uncomfortable, I guess. But that shows Duncan that she doesn't respect him as a character. She doesn't need him, that she doesn't want him, nor feel anything for him. That shows Duncan that she's not doing her job as a girlfriend to show affection towards him and to like him. And then Duncan still has the nerves to glare at Courtney to try to get her attention for some reason, because Gwen wasn't showing Duncan attention. I don't know what happened off screen before All Stars, but Gwen probably wasn't showing Duncan attention because she felt guilty that she stole Courtney's boyfriend, and that Gwen wasn't showing him enough affection, and just Gwen didn't care. So that's probably why he wanted to go back to Courtney, because he thinks that all the girls want him and he's just immature. So for Duncan's standards, as long as the girl likes him, as long as the girl is interested, then it's okay for him not to be interested. Just like in World Tour, how he was not interested in Courtney, but Courtney's interested in him. He was interested in seeing Gwen and Duncan fight, Gwen and Courtney fight. Why do I keep mixing up their names? Because he said no more lady action when he was getting eliminated during the extra clips of Total Drama World Tour. By lady action, I think he meant by seeing Gwen's actions. And then, but when a girl is not interested in him, and when he's interested, then it's not okay for Duncan's standards. Right, this is for Duncan's standards. But in my opinion, I think that Duncan should just move on if the girl is not interested. I think Duncan should find someone better. My OC Jocelyn. Because Gwen didn't treat him better. At least she didn't abuse him. But Gwen acted like she didn't care about him. She doesn't tell him everything either. Because when Duncan asked Gwen if she was okay on Gwen's side, she didn't tell him that she doesn't like being a villain. And I guess this is because Duncan thought that Gwen was targeting Courtney on purpose. So that's why Gwen didn't tell him why. But that was her boyfriend at the time. She could have told him. And then instead of making Duncan a better character, his character goes downhill once he jumps in front of Gwen to protect her. Duncan did a good deed, which is very nice. And I love the scene when he jumped in front of her, because I pretend that Gwen is my OC Jocelyn when he jumps in front of her to protect her from the leeches. And I love when Duncan shows his nice side. And then he sweetly smiles at Gwen, but Gwen just doesn't smile back. It's weird. Gwen's weird. Gwen was being weird towards him. So that makes Duncan and Courtney switch teams, and then Duncan was like, oh, you still care about me. Oh, yeah, you know I exist. And Courtney was like, so what? And Duncan just walked his team, and then next day, he's like, nothing didn't happen. Why is he flirting with Courtney even though he has a whole girlfriend? Duncan just flirts with girls even if they're uninterested, and he just, doesn't care. Then he has a problem when they're not interested. But anyway, Duncan tries to hide the fact that he's all sweet from his competitors, but they already know this. Some of them already know it since they watched the previous Total Drama seasons. And they try to be nice to him. They treat him like company. They treat him like a friend. They welcome him. And Zoe and Duncan do become besties. I ship them. Yes, I'm a multiple shipper, guys. They should just kiss. But Duncan doesn't trust him at first because he's so used to the villains on Total Drama that he thinks that they're trying to get on his good side so that they could vote him off, which doesn't make sense to me to why he would think that about the other characters, considering that Total Drama Neutral Island came out, and assuming that Duncan did not watch that season at all. He's just used to villains, that's what I think. But then in the Total Drama Mood Madness episode, guess what happens? He can't figure out who Mal is, and then he asks Gwen about Courtney. And then All Stars, he tries to prove his point that he thinks that he's a bad boy. He fails and attempts doing good stuff, and he gets called nights for it. Gwen broke up with him. He doesn't know why, and he thinks that because Gwen thinks that he's gone soft. Duncan thinks that he's gone soft. He tries to to hide his nice side. Gwen doesn't state why she breaks up with Duncan, so drama writers really need to make the characters explain these things that we don't know. But the reason why, I think we all know the reason why, because Duncan was asking about Courtney, and she probably felt guilty being in a relationship with someone else's, knowing that she kissed someone else's boyfriend that wasn't her at the time. But even though Gwen did say that that Duncan wasn't Courtney's boyfriend at the time, I'm guessing that Gwen changed perspective because of the fact that Duncan and Courtney did have a lot of breakups and Gwen got confused in a moment, or the writers forgot. So Gwen couldn't have felt guilty, right? Because the writers knew what they were doing. They forgot that Duncan and Courtney were a thing and world tour. They forgot how guilty Gwen felt. So in All Stars, they just made Gwen careless towards the relationship, which is out of character for Gwen, in my opinion. I don't know if it was because Gwen wasn't used to seeing Duncan be so nice, but I think it was because Duncan was obsessing over Courtney, so that's why Gwen broke up with him. She just was so over the fact that he wasn't over Courtney anymore, and that Duncan was just being childish and obsessing over her. Then, in the All-Stars episode, Duncan is seen caring for the blue bird, and Chris shows everyone and laughs at him for it, so Duncan gets mad. And in his wrestling episode, when Chris tries to make him fight the blue bird, Duncan tries to act all tough, but the bird is too cute. I mean, who would fight a baby bird? The bird is so adorable. Nobody would want to fight a baby bird. Maybe except for Courtney and Gwen, because they were laughing at Duncan for not fighting the baby bird. Like, are they evil? Why were they laughing at him for not fighting the blue baby bird? I get it, they're his exes, and they're laughing because he was obsessing over Courtney, and then that's why Gwen laughed, and he was her ex. And Courtney's laughing because Duncan cheated on her. But it's not the fact that they're even laughing because of what happened in the past. I know they're laughing at Duncan and want to humiliate him, but they're just laughing at his situation he's in, though. Because it's him, and because of what he did, because he cheated on Courtney because he cheated on Courtney, and Gwen because he was obsessing over Courtney. But they're laughing at his situation, though, not those facts. Well, they're laughing because of that, and because of the situation he's in. Because he couldn't punch a blue, adorable baby bird? Are you serious? Then they make fun of him for it, which got me so mad. Duncan didn't even defend himself. The writers were just trying to make Duncan seem like a weak character at this point. Because what are they doing with his character? They make Duncan had zero balls in this season. And then he gets so mad. He tries to act all tough in the confessional by saying, "Oh, me bad boy, me do bad things, me blow up stuff." He ends up failing. Oh, sure, because the best thing to make a bad boy give up is to breaking his pocket knife, quote unquote, Mal. You know what? I actually wanted Duncan to redeem himself this season. I wanted him to become a character to grow that we will all love. But, want to know what happens to him this season? Do you really want to know? Alright, he goes to jail! Yay! Wait, why is that a good thing? Yeah, why is that a good thing? Jackson's Nuggets? Why are you laughing? Ha! Okay, so, Duncan tries to attempt to do any bad things, get himself on a naughty list again to prove to everyone he's naughty and not on Santa's good list. So if he wants to get on Santa Speed's naughty list, he has to do bad things and he has to act like a naughty kid so he can get coal for Christmas.
Beat the game, now what we do? Oh, I gotta find more stuff.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
USA! I got a feeling that I've seen a
Jolly Santa, an older man with a full white beard and mustache. He has a round face, rosy cheeks, and kind blue eyes. He wears a red coat and pants trimmed with white fur, a wide black belt with a gold buckle, black boots, and a red hat with a white pom-pom.
Chill out. Boom, out of nowhere, Phantom comes out of the world like
Evil Grinch.
Speed, give me your ass.
Presents.
Grab my two black
Jolly presents.
Open them wide open, start eating my fucking ass.
Christmas candy.
Like, I'm talking about, like, eating the
Christmas.
on my
candy.
I'm like, hey, bro, what the fuck going on, bro? Chill. He like, his eyes was red, though, like on some anime shit. I like 15-year-olds!
Like being jolly and festive.
Have a holly jolly.
Oh my God, I'm ending up on the naughty list.
Christmas. It's the best time of the year.
Please, Santa, I need this. My Christmas tree is kind of giftless.
Jolly Christmas.
I live with my elves. I want to help them out. Santa, I'm watching your stream. Why are you wrapping presents, bruh? That's so respectful and nice, bruh. What are you doing, bruh? That's so nice.
And then when Duncan starts to prove that he's a bad boy on a naughty list, he actually proves the opposite. He proves that he's a good boy on a naughty list. He proves that he's Santa, good little helper, good little elf that belongs on a good list. And he's getting toys for Christmas presents this year. Duncan cheers and celebrates. Actually, I'm joking. He pouts and whines about why he should be on a naughty list. And Duncan, in other words, he complains about why he should be a bad boy and why he thinks that he lost his edge, instead of acknowledging the fact that he is sweet and he should love himself for who he is, and acknowledging the fact that he has bright personality. Well, at least the good side of him has a bright personality. And instead of accepting himself for being nice, he throws that away. And by him throwing that away, it's going to make him do more bad things, and it's going to make him not enjoy that part of himself. That's going to just make him act all tough. He tries to deny the fact that he's gone soft. He hasn't gone soft. He's just being nice. And that's a good thing. He's just not acknowledging that. Instead, I think that he could change as a character. I think his character needs to be more mature, more outspoken, more confident. He should speak up for himself more. He should put his foot down, more sweeter, more gentler, more kinder. And he should embrace his good side, more personality more. He should show other characters who he really is, with the help of DJ, of course. DJ should help Duncan acknowledge his good side. With DJ to talk to, this should be easy. He should fully become the good-sided character he has always been, while still having the tough side, still being tough in a good way. And he should be brave. And the reason why I'm saying this is good for character development, because Duncan should really change in his actions and his ways. He should apologize to Harold. He should apologize to Luciana. And Duncan and Luciana should become friends again. Harold and Duncan can become friends. I believe when he taught Harold how to fight, Harold could teach Duncan how to fight too. And then DJ can help Duncan as a character grow by being nice, and by Duncan could like his nice side better. Then Duncan can tell Courtney and Gwen off for how they treated him, and he could help Jocelyn, his girlfriend, win total drama All-Stars 2. If you're wondering what happens to Duncan next, he ends up proving himself that he's a bad boy in an anonymous list by blowing up Chris's college, becoming on a villain's team, bragging about how he's a bad boy in an anonymous list this year, and how he's going to get so much coal, Santa, and more coal than Courtney, more coal than Mal, and about how he's going to bad boy jail. And when he finds out he's going to big prison, he freaks out and he says, "Oh, it's Uncle Mudvins." When I was 12, I thought he was going to say the SH word, by the way. But, total drama doesn't really do curse words anymore. They don't do the bleeps anymore in the newer seasons. Yeah, so Duncan goes to jail, as we can see in the All-Stars Etcher clips. We see that Duncan's writing a letter to his mom for his point of view. And then he writes her a happy birthday letter. Wow, imagine her son going to jail on her birthday. Wow. Duncan doesn't even look upset when he's in jail. He looks happy. I guess because he's used to it and he's glad that he's proved that he's got so much coal for Christmas this year. Duncan writes a letter about how I'm going to say this as a joke. Duncan writes a letter about how he gets so much coal for Christmas to his mom, and he sends her cake for baby oil on her birthday. And Duncan is so happy that he's on a naughty list and that his mom is on a good list. He even writes a letter about it, and about how it's going to be so much snow this year on Christmas year. And he asks his mom to send him a lawyer to sue Courtney. I'm just kidding. He writes a letter saying happy birthday to his mom. Then he asks his mom to send a lawyer to get rid of that guy who's in jail with him. Because that guy that was in jail with him looks like he wants to beat Duncan up. And guess Duncan really got scared after Total Drama ended, because Total Drama had the challenges, it did, but Duncan is supposed to be like this tough guy. He's, like, I don't know what happened to this character, not just the derailment of Duncan, yeah, and I guess, well, what happened was he got punched so much, kicked so much, and attacked by wild animals even, and got hurt so much that got hurt in so many challenges that he got afraid, I guess. So yeah, bro went too far. Bro should have just listened to his girlfriend when she said, Duncan, wait. Yes, I'm talking about Zoe. I shipped them, guys. But bro did not listen. Bro wanted to be on the naughty list so bad.